Welcome back to Footballology. So this month I got a lot of videos I need to put out. This is gonna be my top 10 defensive players, and then next week I'm gonna come out with my top 10 offensive players in this year's draft. This draft class seems to be really deep, and it's gonna be really exciting to see where some of these guys land. But here's my top 10 and guys that I feel like are gonna make hopefully a decent impact at the next level. And I don't know. Let's just get right into it and see what you guys think.
Drop down and shake, shake. Drop down and shake, shake. Drop down and shake, shake. Drop down and shake. Drop down and shake, shake. Drop down.
On my list at number 10, I have Josh Jones from NC State. Now he's like a new age enforcer, like pretty much what Cam Chancellor is for Seattle, and what everyone's pretty much looking for their strong safety position. And not everyone, but a lot of teams are trying to find that strong safety that has that enforcer, if you will, the guy that can set the tempo for the defense. And I definitely feel like Josh Jones can be that guy, can set the tempo and the attitude for the defense, and definitely just bring the pain. You know what I mean? Like that as an enforcer, does do what he does as an enforcer. I feel like he's that kind of guy. He definitely shows a strong and true passion for the game of football, so that's definitely somebody you would like to have on your team and on your roster. My biggest downfall with him is that he is that kind of guy, that enforcer kind of guy. He doesn't know how to be the enforcer, but at the same time be the guy that can definitely just wrap up the tackle and bring him down. But definitely shows good signs of good coverage ability. So it's like you can get the best of both worlds. You can get the guy that can blow somebody up, and hopefully, separate the receiver from the ball. But at the same time, you can get the guy that can pick off the ball and definitely just be in coverage and take care of business. I think that he can definitely make a difference in the secondary for some teams out there. Not really sure what his round projection. I'm not sure where any of these guys are going to be projected at, but definitely like what he brings to the table, and I think that he could be a solid defender at the next level. Next on the list at number 9, I have Shalom Luani from Washington State, safety. I feel like personally he should be a strong safety. I feel like that's where he's going to play. One reason that I'm really high on this guy or really interested in him is because, for one, Dale Buchanan came from Washington State, and he's probably one of my favorite safeties in the league / linebackers. But then also this guy reminds me a lot of Sewell Craven's, a guy that came out last year. But at the same time, he doesn't hit like those guys does. He does more shoulder tackling. He doesn't actually go in there and wrap up people. He doesn't actually bring people down. He tries to get the big hit, but I don't think that's his forte. I think really he's a guy that can cover, and that's where he can play the ball the most. Do I see him moving to linebacker like those other two guys? Not really. I don't think he should. I think he should stay at the strong safety position. The only thing that's really killing him, if anything, is that he doesn't have that speed that you would like from the guy that is going to play the safety position, especially in today's NFL. But I definitely feel like that he's a guy that can definitely play in the box at the strong safety position, be the 8th man in the box that can help you protect the first down line and help you stop the run. Next on my list, I have Bryan Cox Jr. from Florida. Definitely a big fan of this guy. When I watched him at the combine, it kind of threw me off for a second. But as the more and more I start watching film on him and things like that, I realize he's a guy, in my personal opinion, I've never seen this before, that I would feel comfortable playing the 3-4 defensive end and both playing the defensive end both in the 3-4 and the 4-3. I think he has that kind of ability to definitely push the pocket from the inside and the outside, and it's just going to be really interesting where teams are going to play him when they do get a chance to draft him and where he goes. Also, I think my biggest problem with him, and this is just me kind of nitpicking, is I really don't know if he knows what he's doing. I think he's used to being the biggest kid on the block and just pushing people around. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does at the next level once he goes up against grown men. But I think he still is going to have the ability, like I said, to push the pocket from the inside and the out. And it's going to be really interesting what he brings to the table and what team he goes to and how they're going to use him. He's almost like a New England Patriots player, a guy that's very multi-versatile and can do everything pretty much whenever you want him to. At number 7 on my list, I have Montravius Adams. Now, he was a guy that was on our Spotlight Combine list, and it's crazy because he actually showed up at the Combine. Like, he showed up and showed out. For a guy his size doing what he does, old school defensive tackle, but with new school athleticism, if that makes sense. A guy, once again, because we were trying to get the defenses faster and stronger. Really just faster. The defense has always been stronger, in my opinion. But we're trying to get defenses that are faster. And he's one of those guys that can be a cornerstone piece for some defense somewhere. Not, like I said, I'm not really sure where any of you guys are going to go, but if he slides anywhere past the second round, in my opinion, he's going to be an instant steal. He ran, I think, like a 4.8. Like I said, again, at his size, he looked amazing. He moved really well for a guy his size. He has the strength to push the pocket. Like you said, like you just go over and watch my spotlight video. And I think he's a guy that's going to be almost a 3-down guy. Like, he could be a 3-down player. He can, rush the passer for you. If anything, collapse the pocket from the inside and just demand a double team to free up your other pass rushers. This guy's going to be a beast at the next level. I'm kind of hard. Like I said, this list was really hard to put together because I don't feel like he's the 7th best defensive player. Like, I think he could easily be one of the top 4 best defensive players in this, but I had him at number 7. There's just so many other great guys and great talents, but later on down the road, he's definitely going to be a guy we're going to be talking about. At number 6, I have Zach Cunningham. Now, this guy, in my personal opinion, is flying under the radar, and me being a Chiefs fan, and I know that we need an inside linebacker, I would like for us to get him. He's a guy that has really good cover ability, that can drop back in coverage, and I think he's like 6'3", 6'4", like, dude's tall. So he's a really lengthy linebacker that can help you cover from the inside out. He has that kind of speed and that kind of ability. The biggest thing I would knock on him is that he's blockable, and you don't want that from a linebacker. So it feels like that you would have to create openings for him to go make plays, and you would hope that a guy can get off blocks, but I feel like once offensive linemen get into his body and once they get their hands on him, he just kind of disappears in the play, and you don't want that from your linebacker. But like I said, it is a guy that I personally would like for the Chiefs to take in the first round. It would be interesting. Once the C happens, let's see what happens and if he falls out of the first round, because I think he probably will. Like I said, he's a guy that's flying under the radar, but I definitely feel like they can be a beast at the next level with his speed. And if he just puts on a couple more pounds, because his frame right now, because he's so tall, it looks like he's really skinny. But he has size. He has good size. I would just like to see him put on some more weight and hopefully maintain his speed. And then hopefully that would translate into him being a better run stopper and then still being able to cover down the field. And number 6 is Obi Melifonwu. I think I said that right. UConn's safety. I say safety with a question mark because what he did at the combine, you're saying corner all the way, reminds me of a wide receiver playing the corner or the defensive back position right now. Tries to be that Cam Chancellor kind of safety, but really doesn't have the power or possess the power to actually stop anybody like that. But definitely a willing tackler and a willing run stopper, which would be extremely important on a lot of defenses. And I think he can definitely play corner with the size and the speed that he showed us that he has. I'm not sure if he has the hips and the fluidity if you would want from a cornerback position, but I definitely feel like he has the ability to play the cornerback position. At 6'3", 6'4", he's a long guy. He's a really long guy. And really, you can still put him at free safety with the speed that he does possess. And this guy can play, in my personal opinion, all across the back end of your defense. And eventually, I think he's going to finally settle into a home. Hopefully, he gets into the league and plays one position his whole entire career. And just hopefully he plays in one position his whole entire first 2 to 3 seasons and watch him grow into that position and be a better player at that position. He has the ability to be that guy. Athleticism out of this world. Doesn't always trust his eyes, but at the same time, he kind of plays a little bit safe, if you will. I'm not the kind of guy to say that. If you go back and watch one of my sleeper videos, I said about Jordan Hicks, the linebacker for Philadelphia right now. His scouting report said he played within the scheme and doesn't really take risk. I was okay with him being that guy because he was a linebacker. With him playing a defensive back position, I want to see him take more risk. This guy doesn't take that many risks. He kind of plays within himself and try to allow the play to overdevelop, if you will, and then he sometimes arrive a little late. So hopefully he takes more risk at the next level and then just trust himself and trust his ability, and he can be an extremely legit football player. At number 4 on my list, we have Haason Reddick. Now, this guy, I remember watching him at the Senior Bowl or watching the Senior Bowl and saying, oh, wow, that guy looks like a monster beast. Showed up to the combine. For some reason, he performed with the defensive lineman, and he's not going to play anywhere near defensive lineman or defensive end, in my opinion. But definitely showed that he had great athleticism and all that good stuff. Just pretty much blew it out of the water. What he needed to do to consistently keep rising up the draft boards like he's been doing. I personally want to see him, and I demand to see him at middle linebacker but I know a lot of teams probably won't play him there. He's probably going to either be a 3-4 pass rusher that drops back in coverage probably anywhere from 50 to 60% of the time, or he's going to be a guy that plays in a 4-3 outside linebacker position like a Levante David, because he still has that ability to cover. Like, he shows that he has some coverage ability. He needs a little bit more coaching because obviously he played defensive back when he went to college, but you see him coach up a little bit more, trust his eyes, trust his ability, and definitely show that he can do it. But at the same time, I mean, if he can get after the quarterback in a 3-4, he has a high motor when it comes to getting after the quarterback and stopping a run. And you would hope that he would show that same ability when it comes to coverage. So, I mean, this guy can play all 4 linebacker positions, in my opinion, or 3, middle linebacker, Sam, weak. Like, he can play it all. Like Mike, he can do it all. And I really want to see him at middle. And I think that if he plays there, I think he could definitely be a beast. He can definitely take his game to the next level and be a guy that we can talk about years to come at the middle linebacker position. And number 3 on the list, Jabrill Peppers, a guy that pretty much stole the combine, in my opinion, as far as off the field, outside of drills, interviews. Like, the guy just blew it out of the water everywhere. They had him perform linebacker drills, which he's not going to play linebacker. He's never going to whiff at the linebacker position unless he's dropping down in the box from the safety position. But I really hope he plays free, or even he can play that strong. Or, I mean, this guy can play anything. We know that for a fact. But he's a player that definitely I've seen in a long time play extremely well without the ball in his hands, knows what he wants to do, knows how to do it, and pretty much knows how to get the ball in his hands. But at the same time, he plays even better with the ball in his hands. So he's a guy that you also want to get maybe 5-6 touches a game randomly. So, I mean, he's a guy that you don't want to take anything away from him, but at the same time, my biggest concern is, if anything, where is he going to be as far as what is his home position? Is he going to play linebacker? Is he going to play safety, play a little corner? Is he going to kick return? So now my biggest concern is, once he gets drafted, what team does he get drafted by? And then do they give him a secure home saying, hey, this is going to be at least 90% of you, or 90% of what you're going to do the whole entire season. We're going to throw another 10% in, and then that's going to be it. Or is it going to be one of those situations where it's 25, 25, 25, 25, and then he gets overload, and then it eventually takes away from his natural ability, which you don't want to do that. You don't want to overload a guy his first year and then just take away from his natural ability, because then he's thinking too much when he's playing defensive back. He's thinking too much when he's playing linebacker, maybe a little running back, maybe a little kick return. You don't want to do that to him. I feel like you give him 90% safety, 10% his kick returns and punt returns, and then you call it a day. Don't put anything else on his plate more than that. And then maybe later on down the road you can do a little bit more with him. But I think right now it's going to be 90-10 before you start to break it down into 25s. Next on my list, I have Barnett. He was a guy that I didn't know much about until the combine came around. And I know they start talking about his story, how he showed up sick and he didn't really do anything as far as, I think, the bench rep and things like that. But he still ran his 40, he did some on-the-field drills. And you could tell that he just didn't look right. But even then, with him being the way he was and under the weather, he still performed really well. So I needed to know more. So I started researching more and more and more. And then a lot of people were high on him. And I was like, oh, wow. So then more and more and more research came. And I think what happened was I almost fell in love with the guy. He's an amazing pass rusher, in my opinion. He's a good run stopper. Sometimes can overplay the pass, so you think that he can be a little bit prone to the play action and like screenplays and things like that. So he's always recklessly trying to get after the quarterback and not really trying to diagnose anything. But at the same time, I truly believe that he's probably one of the most intelligent pass rushers I've seen come out of the college in a long time. And what I mean by that is, I feel like that he has a good arsenal of pass rush moves. I feel like he knows how to play with power. He knows how to play with finesse, spin, swim. He can do it all. I feel like he's a complete pass rusher. And you rarely see that coming out of college. But I think he's one of those guys that possess all those moves. And it's crazy because the only thing you're going to tell him is like, hey, trust your eyes, watch, don't completely sell out on the pass. Sometimes the draws and the screenplays, and don't let the ball get behind you. those kind of things. But other than that, it's 3rd and 15. I want this dude on the field attacking the quarterback because I have a feeling that he's going to get there. Dude is an awesome pass rusher. I'm excited to see where he's going to play as well. I don't want to see him standing up in a 3-4. I really hope he goes to a 4-3 team and has the ability just to get up the field and take care of business. So pretty much at this point, you guys already know who the number 1 guy is. Pretty sure he's number 1 on everybody's list as far as defense, overall draft board, just anything. This guy's number 1, Myles Garrett. At first, I'm not going to lie, because I do this a lot, and I try not to do it anymore, but I do it a lot. If I hear the media consistently talking up a guy, I kind of start to downgrade the guy in my mind, because it's like sometimes they talk up some bad people, and we're going to cover that in my offensive video. But sometimes they just talk up some people, and they just talk them up, and they talk them up, and they talk them up, and then they get to the league, and they do absolutely nothing. Myles Garrett, I don't think, has the ability to do nothing. Worst case scenario, this guy is still going to be a role player somewhere. He's going to play 10 to 15 years. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario, we're talking Hall of Famer. Pro Bowls at least his first. Like, he's probably going to miss out his rookie year, which I doubt he will. But we're talking Pro Bowls every year. We're talking about 10-plus sacks every year. We're talking about a complete game changer, best case scenario, and I think that's the only way it's going to be. This guy is a complete beast. The one thing that I would probably say that I have problems with, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, is the way he runs. He runs really weirdly. Like, it blows my mind the way he runs. It's like he's almost off balance, but he's not off balance. And the only thing that can lead to is probably injuries, because sometimes his legs doesn't look like they're under him. So if anything, hopefully he can find a way to keep his legs under him throughout, his pass rushing, throughout the league and all that. Hopefully he goes number 1 overall. I definitely would take him number 1 overall. Not like a couple years ago when I would have took Khalil Mack, and I feel like he has. Now, don't get mad at me for this. He has the ability to almost be better than Khalil Mack. Because I feel like where he's at now was where Khalil Mack was his second year in the league. So I feel like he has that kind of ability. I don't know. I might be blowing smoke. Like, I don't know. It might be the media talking me up, but I feel like he's that kind of pass rusher, and that kind of guy that's going to bring that kind of level of intensity, and a guy that you want on your team every Sunday. All right, that's all I have for you guys this week. My top 10 defensive players. Like I said, go ahead and drop your defensive players in the comment section below. Maybe you want to reorder my list. Maybe you want to throw in. I want to know you guys' top 10, all the way through. I'm really interested to see what you guys have. I'm pretty sure Myles Garrett's number 1 on everybody's list. But at least you're 2 through 10 and see what those are. If you're not a footballologist yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Subscribe to the YouTube channel today. Become a footballologist. And stay safe, football fans. Oh, be sure to look out for my offensive video next week. We'll try to get to you guys. And then we got the sleeper video, and then we still got our mock draft. We got a lot of videos coming out, so I'm going to be shooting them out hardcore before the draft comes around. But once again, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.